Well. Looks like something that me and Kuz on Kuz's Corner were talking about a few days back on live stream may have some legs and may actually come to fruition. Everybody thought us talking about the Big 12 possibly having a chance at big names like Florida State, Clemson, even Notre Dame, maybe Miami as well. We thought we were crazy. Like I said, looks like this thing may be getting up and walking a little bit. Let's talk about it. Don't stop believing. That's the song of the day by Journey. That's right. Don't stop believing in Brett Yormark and the Big 12. Just when you think that they're about done and that they're resigned to the fact that they're going to be the third best conference one day, and that, at best that will be their only hope, Brett Yormark comes out and says he thinks that the Big 12 should be the premier conference in sports athletics. But before we get to in today's Four Horsemen shout-outs go to Nate, Keel Back First, Rail, and Jack Acker are mounted up and saddled up and ready to go. They're going to help us with today's college football invasion. Also, if you want to reach me and give me some ideas for the show, or possibly even be on the show, because this is the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads, I can be reached on Twitter, aka X, at OCF Productions. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's the Big Four, and they're all free. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like over at Yormark, people roll their eyes at him, and when he first became the commissioner, everybody thought, that the Big 12 was on borrowed time, and it ended up being the Pac-12 that was on borrowed time, because the Pac-12, as we all know, had a chance to do to the Big 12 exactly what was done to them by the Big 10 first. We'll try to act like they didn't destroy the Pac-12, but they did. And then the Big 12 come in there and picked them off the rest of the way, and then the Big 10 come in and finished it up. So now we fast forward now, and Brett Yormark is saying some stuff, and it looks like he may have some backup in what he's saying. I'm bringing this article up for you guys right now. It says here, FSU, Clemson, and 4 other ACC schools could join the Big 12 in a stunning development. And scroll on down here. This is on other websites as well. You can check out SI.com and Athens as well, and all these guys are talking about this same subject. The Big 12 could be aggressively making moves to become a true Power 3 counterpart to the Big 10 and the SEC by poaching FSU and Clemson, as well as 4 other schools from the ACC, according to longtime college football radio host Greg Swain. As we've said for a year, FSU and Clemson will not get a Big 10 offer due to neither being an AAU-accredited school, which we all know how I feel about that. That's a farce. It's basically them patronizing their elitist academic boosters and whatnot so as to not hurt their university on the academic side of things. They're just kissing their ass because the AAU is a complete joke, evidenced by the fact that Notre Dame got AAU accredited and they're not a research institution, and the fact that Nebraska lost their accreditation and they're still in the Big 10. So shut up about the AAU, please. But from Vegas, the talk is the SEC has now turned down the pair. With new sponsorship, the Big 12 probably won't pay quite what the other two do, but with those two, they'll pay double what the ACC does. Just like what me and Kuz was talking about a few days ago on the live stream. Right now, joining the Big 12 would be maybe even not even a lateral move. It would be less than a lateral move by some people's estimation. But if they join the Big 12, if the better teams of the ACC, and I've talked about this before, the better teams of the ACC would merge with the existing Big 12, they would have a fighting chance to keep the Big 10 and the SEC from monopolizing this thing. I'm an SEC guy, and I'm just telling you, while I love my SEC football and I love my team, Alabama, I do not want to see a monopoly. I want to see more teams. I don't want this thing microcosm down into being an NFL light kind of deal. I'm not a big fan of that. And it won't end there. The talk is the Big 12 will take 6 from the ACC. The Big 12's foray into private equity. This is the big key here. The private equity could lead to a massive financial windfall for the conference that had helped facilitate the ACC's biggest brands, which besides FSU and Clemson could include Miami, Louisville, UNC, and Duke, making their way to the conference on the rise. Now, Duke, we all know, would probably help them out immensely in basketball. Brett Yormark has said numerous times that he definitely wants to try to compete and be the best basketball conference in America, and they are one of the best conferences in America already. The Big 12 could have more recent champions than the Big 10 at that point. Adding FSU and Clemson is so pivotal because in doing so, the Big 12 would immediately lay claim to more champions than the Big 10 since the 2010 season. Once on the brink of becoming irrelevant, the Big 12 would have made one of the more stunning transformations over the last few years, which what I talked about earlier. The Pac-12 could have been exactly right where the Big 12 is now with a fighting chance had they not listened to Kevin Warren's snaky ass and even some of the guys in the ACC about their little coalition against the big bad SEC and Big 12 back during that COVID BS that went down. The Big 10 is likely to be adding a team from Texas by the year 2026. We know it won't be TCU. That's what they're saying here. Texas A&M and Rice are the only AAU accredited schools, and the Big is likely to consider the Aggies of the two due to the revenue and recent on-field success. We've talked about that before too. Texas A&M is not happy with the SEC putting Texas in because, let's face it, the SEC did promise not to do that. So the SEC basically lied to Texas A&M. Give them hell. We all give them hell about crying and being emasculated by Texas. But the SEC did say that and make that deal with Texas A&M, and now they have reneged on it. So this article does not say it, but Notre Dame is also in the mix here. You might roll your eyes and look at me sideways when I say that, but Notre Dame could absolutely be in the Big 12, maybe even the SEC, because there's a long history with them in the Big 10 not liking each other and one looking down on the other, vice versa, and so on and so forth. Going way back, and I may be a little off on the actual years, but back, I think, in the 1920s or 30s, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish tried to get in the Big 10. The Big 10 turned them down. Well, fast forward to the 1960s, and in the 1960s, Notre Dame once again petitioned to be in the Big 10, and the Big 10 turned them down. Rumor has it Michigan did not want Notre Dame in the conference. Now we fast forward to the 1990s. The Big 10 has suddenly had a change of heart. They bring in Penn State because the SEC just went to 12 teams, and they're in reactionary mode, as they always are, it seems. And so they want to get them 2 teams. Well, they only got Penn State because Notre Dame said, you know what, we're good. Our independence has actually started playing out to being more valuable to us. We got our own TV contract with NBC. So why would we join your conference at this point? So that was next. Now we fast forward to just a few years ago when they had Nebraska and Rutgers and Maryland and all those teams. They once again approached Notre Dame, and Notre Dame once again said no because they have their own deal with independence. They really value that, and they have the deal with NBC. Well, now it's starting to look like the NBC deal is not as quite as lucrative as it once was, and now Notre Dame is actually deciding to look at maybe possibly joining the conference. But would Notre Dame still remember what they done to them back in the day, in the 1930s and the 1960s? You have, old school people that probably have passed the stories down from generation to generation of Notre Dame alumni. And Notre Dame may just say, you know what? We're going to give you an old poking eye once again. We're going to join a conference, but it ain't going to be yours. And they could join the Big 12 And if they were to do that with Florida State and Clemson, if Florida State and Clemson come on board, I think Notre Dame would actually take it a little more serious and maybe think about it as a way and an alternative to the Big Ten, who shunned them so many years ago. The SEC would also be a huge poking eye. Big Ten and the SEC, while they seem like they're sort of in a coalition of sorts, they don't like each other. And for the SEC to get the most coveted prize that the Big Ten's won all along in Notre Dame would be an absolutely historical poking eye. And that's all I got to say about that. If you want to get your badge and get deputized and be in the Outlaw Posse and get your random Four Horsemen shout out like those guys did earlier in the show, all you got to do is hit that join button next to the subscribe button. It's not $2.99 a month. That's just 75 cents a week. That's only a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. Also, there's a little heart down here with a money dollar sign in the middle. If you want to smash that, throw a few dollars in the coffers, help me keep the lights on. That'll be highly appreciated as well. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions and sharing is most important. They get this party bigger and get it more crunk. And with that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.